Welcome to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten.
Hi, I'm Wendy. After I graduated with my master's in wellness management, I started my own company, T2 Coaching, health, fitness, and sport.
And I'm Kirsten, an athlete, vegan, life coach, and girl mom, running a business focused on helping others create a life they love.
We are here to explore all things wellness to help you become the person you've always wanted to be.
So if that's why you're here, open your ears and your mind as we tackle the world of wellness together. Hey everyone. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Kirsten. Hi, everyone. How are you doing?
Me meaning me and everyone else out there is doing amazing today.
That's great.
I know. I just got off the phone earlier I talked to my friend who is in marketing. I talk to her once a month, and we talked a lot about the podcast, and she hates working out, and she hates eating healthy, and she hates all that stuff. So she gave me some good suggestions and a listener question for gearing some of a future podcast toward people, because she's like, you and Wendy are like weirdos, because if you have 5 hours spare in a day, you're like, let's go do a 5-hour workout. And she's like, I don't think most people are like that. So it gave me some good ideas for like future podcasts to maybe like talk to people who maybe aren't as excited about exercise as us.
Well, on that note, I just had a conversation with someone just a couple days ago, and I can't remember who it was, but we were talking about that. And during my patella recovery, I got to the point where I was looking, thinking I was going to get FOMO because I was watching other athletes online doing all these events, and I was missing the events that I had planned that year. And I wasn't getting FOMO. I was like, oh my God, I can't imagine doing a 50K. And I really felt like, and I used to, but I can't imagine doing it right now. And I felt like I got to that point where I'm like happy with, I can't wait till I can move for 30 minutes and I'll be so thrilled. And so I was at that point that I couldn't imagine anyone doing more than an hour workout, whereas now, I'm back up to my normal training load. So it was interesting that I went through that, because I never thought I'd go through that. I'm like, God, I think the most I'll do, I think I'll just stick to 5Ks the rest of my life.
Right. That's how I feel right now with running. I'm struggling. I'm struggling mentally a lot with just like even running. Like I have no interest in it, but I have such a desire to do well in my triathlons that I went online like 2 days ago and I signed up for 3 half marathons. Like one each month.
And you are like that. You like to have those goals, those races at the end. I like to know what I'm going to train for. And so right now, I did a really, really high elevation 50K in November. I did a flatter one last month to get faster. And now I'm doing one in between. It's, about 5,000 feet of elevation gain. So it's kind of in the between. And I love the training prep I'm doing for it, but I know come the week before the race, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm done. I feel good. I feel like I've done the race. Let's move on to something else, even though I hadn't done the race yet.
Right.
I like the race to give me the direction of my training, but I don't like race day.
Right. And I like the race because it makes me do it and it makes me go fast.
Right.
So if I run a 10K on my own for training and I feel like I'm going hard, it's going to take me an hour.
Right.
And then if I run it in a race, it takes me like 48 minutes.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Exactly.
Yeah. So what's your wellness one for the week?
So my wellness one for the week, I have 2. I like to do a training one and a non-training one. The training one is last weekend was my birth weekend. My birthday fell on a Sunday, and normally, everyone just leave me alone. Let me do my thing. I want to be by myself. And that changed when I turned 50. When I turned 50, I was kind of like, why do I do this to myself? I'm kind of lonely and depressed, and I'm turning 50. And then the following year I broke my patella. So I didn't have a big workout plan like I normally do on my birthday. And so this year I've been keeping it moderate, and I balanced my birth weekend with a lot of family activities. So on Saturday I did a 10K and it was really fun. So I'm trying to balance the long stuff with the shorter, faster stuff. And then I went to my grandson's gymnastics meet for the afternoon. And then on my birthday, I actually wanted to go to my favorite state park. And my husband said, oh, Gibbs Gardens is open and we're really into the flowers. And, it's like a 3-mile walk. And I'm like, oh, at first I was like, oh, like, oh, it's my birthday. And then I'm like, no, let's find something else that I love to do and make sure I have time with my husband on my birthday. I mean, that's pretty appropriate. That's what
Right.
normal people do. So I enjoyed, I got up early. I enjoyed a sunrise, which is my favorite thing to do. Then we went to the gardens and then I enjoyed a sunset. And so just for me, the thrill of getting a view of a sunrise and a sunset in one day, to me, is amazing on my birthday. That was amazing. And so that was a wellness win. Again, we've talked about balance. We've talked about relationships before. And then my other wellness win was I did a post on Facebook about the upcoming podcast that we're doing today. And I had my hair down with this hat on, me talking in the camera. And my massage therapist is like, oh my God, your hair looks beautiful. Well, you should wear it down all the time, because I'm at the stage where it's twisted, it's up, it's in the in-between length, but it's long enough to do braids. Because the last few years during my birth month, I've gotten it short, like chin length. And my hairdresser was out for a baby, so I'm not going to be able to get my hair cut during my birth month. I'm going to have to get it next month. So to get that compliment was kind of huge for me, because I'm like, well, little do you know, I never brush my hair. And when I do, it's got some good thick dreadlocks in it. And it's really tough for me. I have to like condition it, which I don't like conditioner. And it was just kind of like, okay, I guess, some people see my hair differently than I do.
Right.
But I'm really excited to get it done, because I'm going over, now that it's past my birthday, I'm going over 12 months since I've been to my hairdresser. So I'm really looking forward to something. I'm not inspired yet of what I want to do with it, but I know I need to do something with it.
Right. That's funny. That reminds me of one of my wellness wins is I got Cora's haircut, and she didn't, so her hair was like the middle of her back, and it's dreadlocks all the time. And when I comb it or brush it, she screams, like, she'll be like, Mom, why do you hate me so much? Why are you trying to hurt me so bad? Like, it is a fight. She ends up crying. Half the time I end up crying. We're both crying. I'm trying to brush her hair. Anyway, it's been a struggle. And so I got it cut. It's shoulder length, which is the shortest her hair's ever been since she's had hair. And she was, at first, she looked down and you could see all the hair on the floor. And she was like, Mom, I hate it. It's so short. And then we got home and she's like messing around with it, and the wind was blowing, and she was like, Mom, I love it. And the next day it took me like 30 seconds to brush her hair. And I'm like, oh, so that's a wellness win for me.
Nice.
Oh gosh, I'm falling apart here. That's a wellness win for me, because I literally was like on the struggle bus with her hair. And then my wellness win that I came prepared with was I got my tattoo done.
Oh yeah.
5 sessions it took. Each session was between 2.5 and 3 hours. And I didn't know it was going to last over 2 months, because I was going to go, I thought it'd be like 3 sessions and I'd go like 3 weeks in a row. But because she had some scheduling things, I have Cora every other weekend. It took us, it's like a total of like 9 weeks or something. It was like over 2 months. But I wanted to show it to you. I haven't been able to see, I haven't taken a picture of it, because I took a picture like looking in the mirror, but then I couldn't see the detail. So I'm gonna premiere my tattoo on the podcast.
Nice.
So you're gonna have to tell me if I need to go lower or higher, because it's on my back. So I'm gonna step away, and then I can't turn around for obvious reasons, because this podcast is not rated X. So tell them one more of your wellness wins while I get ready.
Oh, wellness wins. I'm still reading. I finished book number 7. I'm reading book number 7. I finished book number 6, so I'm into book number 7. I'm balancing a combination of fiction and nonfiction. And it's, again, something that's kind of become a habit, where I get home from coaching around 7:30, and then I immediately start reading my book. Usually I read my book until I go to bed. So the book reading continues. And again, I was never really a reader. And now I'm kind of, takes 21 days to create a habit. And I've definitely been on this book streak of reading for more than 21 days, and it's definitely become a habit.
All right, if you guys are just listening to this and you're not watching, it looks hilarious right now because my shirt's half off. But I'm going to flip around so you can see it. Tell me if you need me to go higher or lower.
Oh,
Can
go a
you see
little
the
bit to the go a little bit right there, right there.
Can you see the
Yeah,
whole
we
thing?
can see it. We can see it.
Even at the bottom?
Even at the bottom. Yeah, it's very light in color, but I'm sure like if I made this larger, I'd see it more.
Yeah. So
I like it. It's really pretty. A child and a mother.
Yes. And then our animals
And then our animals. Yeah, I see the sheep are definitely most defined, or the lamb, the sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty. I like the colors.
Okay, hold on. Let me put my clothes back.
So Kirsten just shared her back where she got her gigantic tattoo with her a mother-daughter vegan.
Yeah, it was for my 10-year vegan anniversary, but I also wanted to kind of show like tribute to being a mother and being an animal rights activist, being vegan. So it's and I'll post it on social media. I think it should be just about healed. So I was kind of waiting till it was healed, and then I'll get a good picture of it and post it. But it's like a mother and a daughter in the center, and then animals like hanging out in the grass underneath, and then like some flowers and bees and butterflies and stuff kind of in like a little art over it. So anyway, I love it. Good thing.
Yeah.
Good thing, because it's humongous. It takes up like my whole back.
It looks nice.
So that's my wellness one. So this week, Wendy and I are going to be discussing success. And her and I have talked about this before, and she's actually I've seen her post. Sorry, I'm having issues. I've seen her post things on her social media about like asking others, how do you define success? What's your definition of success? And I know both of us, when we coach our athletes, I mean, that's basically the first conversation we have with them, because we're coaching them to be successful, and success to them might be completely different than success to us as coaches. So as coaches in any area, we're coaching our athletes or our clients on their goals, and what their definition of success is not necessarily our definition of success. And we thought it would be really valuable to talk about, to give so that we can talk about our different definitions of success, because success is whatever you define it to be. Also discussing maybe the issues and the complications that happen when we start to follow somebody else's definition of success, and how that can disrupt our wellness and our overall well-being. And if you don't have a definition of success, maybe this can help you define for yourself. Because if you don't know where you're going, I guarantee you will never get there, because you won't know when you get there, because you won't know where you're going.
Right. And that just reminded me of a quote: if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got.
Right.
And so, there's been times in my life from a sport perspective, I didn't really know what I was focusing on, my, multi-sport journey. And I would continue to do the same things that I like to do. And that was great to a point, until I decided what success to me is I want to win a race. And I'd been training. I think the first time I won an overall race, I know the first time I won an overall race was 2004, because in 2003 I said, okay, I'm a pretty good athlete. I'm doing well, but I haven't won one. I want to win. And so I had to totally adapt and evolve my training to get to the point where I could win a race. And I ended up winning 7 or 8 races overall that year. And that was like a game changer for me. And that was a mindset thing. And that's how I just changed my definition of success within my sport. But overall, my definition of success, kind of as a whole, like wellness umbrella, is anything that has to do with like personal growth. Whether I'm learning something, becoming a better version of myself, whether that's in the fitness, better partner, better coach, better athlete, whatever that is becoming a better version of that, kind of that label of myself.
Right. That's a great definition. I was thinking before we before we are doing this podcast, what is my definition? And I've realized, like you said about your sport definition of success evolving over the years, or evolving, especially that like big evolution, is I definitely, my definition of overall success has 100% evolved over the years. If you would have asked me in my teens, when I was a kid or when I was a teenager, I always just wanted to be happy. Like every blow out my birthday candle wish, every falling star wish, every time I threw a penny into the well, every time whatever opportunity I had as a child or a teenager to make a wish, my wish was always to be happy. Like that was all I wanted. So that was my idea of success, is I just wanted to be happy. And that, unfortunately, I think that's, I mean, it's a little elusive, but I was a kid. But unfortunately, as I got into my 20s, the outside pressures started kind of coming in. So I changed my success. I really wanted to be like top of my game. So, the best in my whatever job I was doing, I wanted to be the very best. I wanted the recognition. I wanted to make as much money as I possibly could. And that actually sent me in a 20-year, like working 80 hours a week, being depressed, anxious, overeating. Like that sent me into a frenzy. And I think it's because that wasn't what I truly wanted on my inside. It was that I thought those were the things that would give me praise and recognition. And so that's why why I mentioned, following somebody else's idea of success might be detrimental to your health and overall well-being. And then more in my 40s, I would say it shifted a little bit to more toward being happy again. So I started training more, working less, making more choices, creating a life that I could feel like I had more decisions and more agency over what I was doing. I also had a child in the middle of my 40s. So that obviously changed just my overall outlook on life and what was important to me. But in my 50s, 100% my overall idea of success is doing things that bring me joy, that are of service to others, and that make me the best human I can. And my mission in my life is to inspire others to be better by simply being me. So without going out of my way to going out of my way to do something to inspire somebody. I want just me to just live my life the way it feels good to live, and that be enough to inspire someone.
Without trying,
yes,
and without saying, okay, today I have to do this so I can inspire someone. You just go and do it.
Yes, 100%. And since that's my mission, if that happens, that's my definition of success. And so when you guys who are listening, and when people who you might not be listening, but you might be in my Facebook group, when you guys say to me, thank you for posting this, or thank you for saying this, or thank you for mentioning this, thank you for showing me that picture of your vegan meal, what you did made me want to XYZ, do something for myself, do something for my family, do something to better my life. That to me is priceless, because that's confirmation that I'm a success.
I love that. And I want to jump in about making wishes. Every time I blew out the candles to make a wish, or broke a chicken wishbone wishbone back in the day.
I know.
Or whatever you do when you make a wish. My wish was always to get to more wishes. I wish I can have more wishes.
So you were the one who wished for 3 more. Your one wish was 3 more wishes?
Yes, always.
That's hilarious. I love that.
So it was a never ending thing going on. Like I wish I could wish anything and it was going to come true.
You're like, I wish for eternal wishes.
Yes.
That's awesome. So what are some of the things that you've seen in your athletes you coach, the people in your community, that have been ideas of success that maybe, I don't want to say backfired, because they're all educational. We learn from everything, but
Right.
things that you've seen or experienced with some of your people that have turned out not so great.
Well, again, as a coach, it's athletes, um, they have a bad workout, or they're not able to execute the workout as intended, and they see that as unsuccessful, until I point out, well, look back, let's look back at what you have done to get to the place where you were, and the fact that you weren't able to achieve the success of the execution is because you didn't sleep, you didn't eat, you didn't hydrate, you didn't plan, you didn't prepare, the weather, it's, and so I'm more or less always pointing out these successes for athletes that they don't see themselves. And then over time, the success for me as a coach is when they kind of listen, and the next time they're feeling those doubts, oh my God, I couldn't hit the workout details again, I'm a failure, what's wrong with me, blah blah blah, they recognize, oh, okay, hey coach, I didn't get a lot of sleep, my kid was up, blah blah blah, and so I modified the workout on my own, and this is why. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so much success as an athlete, to see why you weren't able to accomplish the details of the workout that day, those external factors causing you to not do it, and being okay with it, and still staying positive, and still recognizing it's not a deal breaker. One missed workout, or one, workout that you had to modify or adapt, isn't going to change the overall big picture of where we're going with the plan.
Right.
And so, just really as a coach, helping athletes really find that balance of their training, their relationships, their
Mhm.
self-care, their work environment, everything we've always talked about on the podcast, how all that impacts what they define as success.
Right.
And so again, the thing about the benefit of coaching is we always see the big picture, and we always see the behind the scenes of what's going on with the athlete, and how everything's impacting, how their life is impacting their training, how their training is impacting their life, relationships, work, everything.
Right.
And so, I think as a coach, athlete, the definition of success is a lot of times sport related. And for me, again, going through a broken patella, and that life-changing event, life-changing as it changed my sport, it changed the amount of time I spent with my family. I spent way more time with my family. I got more involved in my life outside of training, and I've tried to carry that lifestyle with me now that I'm training again. I'm aware of my values and what's most important. It's more important for me to spend time with my family on my birthday, as in the past it was more important for me to say, get out of my way, let me have my own day by
Right.
myself. To me, that's very successful, and that makes me really happy that I'm kind of in that type of person once again.
Right. Well, if your goal is to qualify for the Kona World Championships and Ironman, and you get there, but in the process you lose your job and your family, then is that a success? you
No,
know?
and that's a good point. When you said other athletes, I've coached athletes in the past, they're one and done, and they're done with their relationship as well. And I'm like, like I've seen it with athletes. And again, this is 10, 20 years ago. I don't really coach those type of athletes anymore, but it's like, oh my God, you gave up that relationship because of due to training. That's
Right.
kind of sad. Or you gave up that career because you were so fixated on the Ironman, which is an awesome accomplishment. But again, as a coach, I have to ensure there's more to an athlete's training than, I talked about this last week, than weight loss. You got to have a better why to train for an Ironman than weight loss. You got to understand the commitment that it takes to achieve your goal that you tell me you want to do. This is the commitment I see. Is that possible? And is your family and friends and loved ones on board to support you with your journey? Because if not, we got to talk about it. It's something you need to talk about, and something we need to adapt the program to make sure everyone who is supporting you is acknowledged that they're supporting you, and that you're not going to lose them in the process of training for an Ironman. I think it happens so
Right.
common.
Right. One thing you mentioned is an athlete getting bummed about maybe an unsuccessful workout.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I wanted to share, I've shared this with some of my athletes, and people have told me it's really, really, it's very helpful to remember this. So one of the books that I read, it was a memoir of one of the professional female runners, and I read like 5 in a row. So to be honest, I can't remember which professional runner said this, but if you guys know, let me know in the comments so I can give credit where credit's due. But she was taught by her coach the rule of thirds. And if you have heard this, great. If you haven't heard this, I want to ask you to listen very carefully. If you're an athlete, this could also apply to other areas of your life. But what they said was 1/3 of your workouts are going to suck, meaning you missed the workout. You didn't hit any of your numbers. You felt like crap. That's just part of training. So 1/3 of your workouts are going to be like that. 1/3 of your workouts are going to be boring, mundane, as written, nothing great, nothing bad. It was just your workout. You just got through the workout and you're like, okay, check that one off the list.
Mm-hmm.
And then 1/3 of your workouts are going to be amazing, meaning either you felt great, you hit all your numbers, but it felt amazing. You maybe did a training 5K and you went faster than you thought, or you just finished feeling like, damn, I just crushed that workout. And I think this is an important thing to remember, because if you think 1/3 of your workouts are going to fall into each of those buckets, when you have a crappy workout, you knew that was going to happen.
It's
right?
normal. It's part of being an athlete.
Yeah. If you do 9 workouts a week, that's 3 swims, 3 bikes, 3 runs. Let's say that, that's pretty like common. If you do 9 workouts a week, 3 of them are going to suck. So if you have a workout that sucks, instead of being like, oh, this is awful, I couldn't even run. I was supposed to run 4 miles and I ran 2 and walked 2. I'm a failure. No, that's what was supposed to happen, because 3 of your workouts are going to suck. 3 are going to be boring, and then 3 are going to be amazing. So look forward to the amazing ones.
Right. And I believe exactly what you just said. I follow a professional running coach, Steve Magnus. He's also a co-host of the Growth Equation, now called Farewell podcast. He has said that before.
The rule of thirds.
The rule of thirds. Yeah.
And so I teach that to my athletes, because then they don't come to me and say, oh my gosh, this workout sucked so bad, I'm never going to be able to complete my race. They'll say, this workout sucked, next one's probably going to be better.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just a part of training. And I haven't thought about it in the context of everyday life, but I feel like between Wendy and I, we can literally relate every single training tool to life. So it's probably the same thing in your relationship. You know what? 1/3 of your relationship, you're going to be arguing, you're going to be fighting, it's going to be annoying, it's going to suck. 1/3 is just going to be like status quo. It is what it is. Good morning, honey. Have a great day at work. The end of the work. How was your day? Good. How was your day? Good. Let's watch a show. Like that to me is just like kind of like you got through, nothing big and nothing negative, nothing positive. And then 1/3 is going to be your vacation, your extra time you spend together. Wendy's spending her birthday with her family. They know her and they know that's a big deal. So they were really honored that she spent her birthday with them. So I feel like you can apply this to every area of your life. That 1/3, the rule of thirds.
Yeah, I like the rule of thirds. That's great.
Me too. That was good. The other thing I thought of when you were talking about losing everything like by training, when I talked at the beginning of this podcast about success in my 20s, how I literally just worked. I worked 7 days a week as a personal trainer, fitness instructor, a swim coach. And I worked literally 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. And then half the evenings I worked every weekend. And I ended up about toward the end of my 20s. And here, let me back up a minute and say, I felt like I was being successful. So at the time, I was the best trainer in my gym. Like everybody wanted me. I was in demand. I was making money. Like I felt like I owned a house. I owned a car. I blah, blah, everything. I was married. Well, something happened in my late 20s in my relationship that was very traumatic. It's a very big thing. And I had nowhere to turn. So this big thing happened and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need a support system right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I had none. I had zero because I didn't have time for friends. I didn't have time for my family. I was so obsessed with being on the path I was on to be successful that I ignored the entire area of my life of connections. And I sat there all alone with my phone in my hand, wondering who I should call to reach out to in my moment of need.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a very, very long time scrolling through every contact I had because none of those people were people that I had given any time and attention to in our
Mm-hmm.
relationship in years. And I'm like, I can't just call them all of a sudden crying because something horrible happened in my life. And
Right.
I literally had nobody and I did not know what to do. And in that moment, I felt like the hugest failure. And I think about that all the time now, that I would never ever let that happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talked about this in our relationship episode. Relationships are what us as humans need in our lives to live.
And I never knew this story, but I'm so glad you share that with me because I feel grateful that when you were going through the divorce, you came to visit me in
Yeah.
April.
Yeah, that was
You know,
really awesome.
that was really awesome. Like that was the beginning. You needed time away. You needed time with a close friend and you chose me and you laid on my couch. You stayed on my couch and we jumped on the trampoline.
We did jump on the trampoline.
And we had a great time. And it's exactly what you needed to,
Right.
like process your future.
Right.
And I'm someone, as you were talking about success, like I think of my 20s, I moved to Colorado. I started grad school at Colorado State University. And then after that, I started working at the Fort Collins Health Club. And then I became a full-time manager. And I'm always I live very presently, but like, I can't even tell you if I even thought of the word, what was successful to me back then. I just lived my life. So maybe back then my life was pretty successful because I was pretty happy.
Right.
I was a, former collegiate swimmer. I was not happy in my undergraduate degree. I was happy with my graduate degree program. I was a triathlete, not a swimmer anymore. I was really happy that I could train and I had all this time to train. I had great friends who loved their sport. And I just don't even remember ever thinking in my 20s or when I started thinking what success meant to me, because I guess maybe I was there. I have no idea. But I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, thank you. The great thing is, like, we mentioned this, I feel like we mentioned this in every single episode, that all of our struggles teach us something.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I did a lot of like personal growth, like seminars and stuff. And I remember in one of them, like we were supposed to journal on like our regrets.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we could change anything about our past, what would it be? And even though I've had a ton of stuff in my past that I probably shouldn't have done or what it maybe wouldn't do if I went back. Everything in my past, every single thing that's happened in the last 52 years has made me who I am as a human.
Mm-hmm.
And I like myself how I am now. And so I don't have any regrets. I wouldn't change anything. It was all lessons. It was all learning. It was all growth. So in thinking about that, I feel like that's also a great definition of success.
Yeah.
Like if you can't go back and be like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have. And I even know people who have done horrific things in their life and they don't wish it didn't happen. Or even, and this, like, I can't speak for myself. Nothing like this has ever happened to me. But, I know people who have gotten in horrible accidents and lost limbs, or it changed their life so much, like they had to change like their whole life over again. And in hindsight, they're like, I don't regret driving drunk or whatever happened,
Yeah.
because it led me to where I am now. And I love where I am now.
Yeah. I, just as you were talking, thinking back, I have nothing, life hasn't been all good in my life, but I have no regrets because it always makes you the person you are today, presently. Your past creates the present of who you are. And so, yeah, definitely I've been good. It's been good. It's been fine.
Yeah. The other thing, when I was in my 20s and I was go, 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 because since our podcast is on wellness and overall, we talk a lot about like longevity and overall health, because that's what's important to Wendy and I right now. We're in our 50s. So, when you're in your 20s, you don't think about longevity. You're like, I'm going to live forever and everything will balance out in the end. But when you start getting older, you think about these things. And I ended up also in my late 20s, early 30s, taking different medications for just different like anxiety. And I was diagnosed with some things that I don't think I have, but I took medication for them because I was trying to like figure things out. And I'm like, I'm a mess. My health was a mess, emotionally, physically, mentally. So I was trying all these things, when all in hindsight, all I needed to do was redefine my definition of success based on my values and what I truly wanted in life,
Mm-hmm.
not what I thought right now. I mean, things might change in the future. I don't ever want to own a house. But when I was younger, I got married. Like I just jumped into the whole, like, get married, get a full-time job, own a house, own a car, blah, 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 blah. And when I think about it now, what would make me happy? I don't want to own a house. I don't want to shovel. I don't want to rake. I don't want to I like living in an apartment. Like I don't want a nice car. I used to be like, oh, I need a brand new car. My first 3 cars I ever owned were brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought that was like, I'm successful because I have a new car. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, give me the cheapest thing that's super safe and will get me from A to B and fit all my equipment.
Yes. And that just reminded me, success for me is internal. It's not external objects.
Yeah.
It's all internal. It has nothing to do with any need or want of anything. It has to do with decluttering, making space for me, myself, and I, and my family, and not having the stuff to worry about, like that comes along with a new car or a new house or any of that extra stuff. Yes, we own a house. We actually got a really good deal. And it's fine. But again, just all the renovations we've done over the years, I'm like, gosh, I just want this to be done,
Right.
It's a great investment for where we're at in our lives. The house is our investment for our future.
Right.
And again, future, what future, like to me, I'm like, oh gosh, the future. I'm just always like present. I got to do what I need to do today and be happy. And whatever I get done today is going to impact my future, but I'm not going to have the future and work backwards.
Right. And I feel like I'm not like that at all, but I feel like that is a huge, like that to me is a successful life. Like to me, if I was in a place where I could live in the moment and not like, because sometimes I wish some days away and it makes me so sad. Like, I feel like I'm going to cry right now. I talked about this with my therapist a while ago. I was like, on a really rough day, I feel like I wish the day away. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to wish days away. Like, how awful is that to wish you're like, you wake up and you're like, what just happened to those days? I didn't want to live them. And so, like, I want to live every day super present in the moment. Whatever happens in the future happens in the future. And like, this is kind of off topic, but kind of not. So last summer, my daughter came up to me. She spent the night with her dad. He dropped her off at the pool where I coach in the mornings for the summer swim team. And she was like clinging to me. And she was like, Mom, I had such a bad nightmare. And I was like, oh, what happened? What was your nightmare? And she goes, I had a dream that you died. No, I had a dream that somebody came up to me and told me that you died at a stoplight before my 7th birthday.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, what the? Like, and it was very specific. And she talked it to her therapist about it. She talked to my mom about it. She remembered it very vividly. And she said, somebody told me that you died at a stoplight before my 7th birthday. She's 6. She turned 7 in June. For like a month, I was freaking out. And every time we heard like a song that reminds us of each other, Cora would start crying. And I was like, what's making you sad? And she was like, this song just reminds me of you. And I'm just going to really miss you when you're gone. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. So I was thinking for like a month, I'm like, if I have 1 year to live, am I doing everything I would do if I honestly knew on 100% that I would be dead in a year? What would I change? The answer was nothing. Like everything I'm doing, even like, and I still think, I mean, this was 7-8 months ago, but her birthday's in June. She turned 7 in June. So I think about this all the time. And I think like, okay, would I spend 3 hours at the gym? Absolutely. Would I still want her to go to her dad's 2 to 4 nights a week, depending on the week? Yes, I would. Like, you know, when you think like, oh, if I'm going to die, do I want to just like spend every waking moment just holding my children? And I'm like, no, I still want everything I'm doing. I would still do, even if I am dead before June 15th.
Right. I hope you're not.
Oh, I hope I'm not too, because that would break my heart. I really want to see my child grow up.
Stop driving.
Well, and then I was like thinking, I'm like, it could be driving, it could be biking, it could be running. Like, could I get some more information from your dream?
Your dream. Yeah, that's random.
But while we're talking about success, I mean, because I'm sure we've all heard that like journal prompt before, or like if you're working on personal growth, you know, what would you do if you knew you were going to die in 3 months or in 3 years? Like, how would you live your life differently? And I feel like the fact that I wouldn't do anything different shows me that I'm living as my best life.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I would do anything different either.
Yeah.
I like thinking about it since you mentioned it. I've thought about it in the past. I don't remember what my answers were, but like, what would I do different? I mean, and again, if I had 1 year to live and I could live it and be healthy, not be getting chemotherapy from cancer.
Right.
What would I do? I mean, I'm doing pretty well. So, you know, and I would keep doing the things I want to do. I'd keep coaching the kids.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 3 years ago, I would have said I wouldn't coach the kids anymore, but they've come. I've loved them. I love my kids that I coach.
Right.
I'd still do that. You know, I spend a lot of time with my mom. I spend a lot of time with my husband and his side of the family, my stepkids, my grandkids, and all that. It's fun.
Yeah. I think that's, you guys, if you're out there thinking like, wow, I've never thought about my definition of success, or I've never thought about thinking in any of these ways. Maybe a couple things that you can start thinking about, or journal prompts, are, if I had 1 year to live, would I be doing what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
And if not, I mean, that's a deep dive into some things that maybe you want to start changing in your life.
Right.
If you're not and I know it's scary, and I know that it's not everyone's going to be willing to give up, because I have a friend, and he's an acquaintance now. I haven't talked to him in years. But when I was on my road trip, after I got divorced, I went to Georgia for like 10 days. I went to Florida. Then I drove through, did a bunch of marathons I was basically on the road for like 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And he had said, I am so jealous that you're out just like doing whatever you want. This man has like $10 million in the bank. And that's not an exaggeration money. Like, I mean, him and I talked about money. He had $10 million in the bank, plus retirement, plus he would get, if he quit his job, he would get a pension. Like, he had so much money. I was living in my car, staying on my friends' couches, and he had so much money. And I go, you could retire right now and do whatever you wanted to. And he said, I'm not that brave. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, if I had $10 million, like, I would just be doing, I mean, this was before I had a child. I can't live in a car with my child. Although I thought about getting like a RV and doing that. But it's, be brave enough to live your life on your terms, and it'll work out. Wendy's life, she says it several times during all our different podcasts. She's like, I'm doing great. Life is good. I'm doing great.
I'm a brutally honest person. Like, it's the truth.
Right. So, and I feel like Wendy and I are similar in that we're kind of hustlers. We kind of like do whatever we need to do to live the life we want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And it's available to anybody with the courage to do it.
Yeah, exactly. With the courage to do it, for sure.
Yeah. Any final words on success from you?
No, again, I think it's personal. Don't compare what success means to you to what success means to others. I think that's really important. Because it is, and again, it's a subjective word. You know, a lot of times I'm subjective words in me. People, float subjective words around, not realizing the answer just depends on so many factors. So again, whatever your success is, stick to it, stay true to it, stay honest with it. And don't think because of something we said today means that you need to change your definition of success. It's just personal to you.
Yeah, I think that was one of the main reason why we wanted to do this podcast on success, is because we want to give you guys just some space and a safe space to think about what success means for you, so that you can start chasing your success.
Mm-hmm. That aligns with your values, not mine.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, it starts with your values.
Yeah. 100%.
It's all about values, like, yeah, sure. I wish I had $1 million, but I'm pretty happy without having $1 million.
Right.
Yeah,
I wish I had $1 million, but
my definition of success isn't financial.
Yeah. Mine is freedom.
It's freedom. Like yours.
We did not plan that. Both of ours is freedom, obviously, because, and I've told people this, I work the minimum amount that I need to be able to do all the things that I want to do and give my child a safe, healthy life, and no more than that.
Uh-huh.
Because I value my freedom a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. I would love to hear your guys' definition of success. So you guys let us know, comment, let us know if you can relate to anything that we've said, or if anything that we mentioned helps you kind of come up with what you're looking for in your life and what you're searching for. Because again, we're doing this podcast to be of service.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a listener question?
I don't. I've had a couple listener questions, but there's stuff we've already talked about on the podcast.
That's how I was, but I do have one because it's my friend that I just talked to. I'm going to find it.
Yeah, I mean, one was a client of mine. How do you stay motivated when you wake up and you're feeling tired and drained? How do you stay motivated to do your workout? It just comes down to your why. Let's talk about this. How do you stay motivated to do a workout when you're not motivated and you're tired and fatigued? It happened to me last week. I made a commitment for my birth month to run 5.2 miles every day. That's my physical challenge of my birth month. It's nothing big, nothing epic on one day. It's a little bit each day, 5.2 miles. And last Wednesday, I'm just exhausted because I'd done 5.2 miles in very hilly terrain the days preceding. And it was one of those days that I'm like, okay, if I had an event, then an upcoming event, I should take the day off and rest. But I'm like, no, I can do 5.2 miles. And I kind of procrastinated and kind of waited all day. And then I fueled, I hydrated, and I'm like, let's just see what happens. If you need to walk, you need to walk. Just, you have time to do your 5.2 miles. And it ended up, I just went at a very easy pace, and I came back with the most energy, more energy I had after my little 5.2 mile recovery run. My legs felt amazing. And I'm like, this is the 10-minute rule, why you say, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes. And if I'm still feeling like crap 10 minutes into it, well, then turn around and go home. I gave myself that opportunity, and it ended up being amazing, and I felt better for it. So again, the why is so important as your motivator to do the things that you don't think that you want to do, but you don't think you should do, but you're not sure. Always keep that why in mind.
Yeah. I'm going through the same thing with my running, just in general. I don't feel like running. And I haven't run. I ran once last week, right before the podcast, when I did my sprint time trial. I'm going to do a 5K this Saturday, the park run. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I haven't run for a month. But I still have running on my training plan, but I've been step mill, walking on the treadmill, and doing elliptical. And so I just kind of like what Wendy said, 10 minutes, just, you're going to feel fine. I just realized like 2 days ago that my race is 9 weeks away. So talking about the why, I'm like, okay, I've been kind of screwing around for 3 months, and that's okay. But now my race is 9 weeks away. And if I just wanted to finish my race, I would just keep doing what I'm doing. But I don't. I want to win my race. So I got very specific in my training plan, and that's my why. And so that motivates me. So starting Sunday, I'm going to start adding intensity, and sometimes I'll be perfectly transparent. I really like taking like a pre-workout drink. And so if I'm like, okay, I have to get this done. If it's a run and I don't feel like running, I'll throw on my earbuds, crank up the music, slam my pre-workout, and go do it. And 10 minutes in, I feel great.
Yeah. It usually happens. 10-minute rule is gold.
It is. Yours is very similar to my listener question. She says, how can I make myself continue working out at the gym when it's not something I enjoy, but it's something I know I need to do? So if a random person asked me this, I would ask them about what are some things you do enjoy doing that are active. And I've given people suggestions like cranking up the music and dancing around your house 20 minutes a day. Like we all have something that's active that we enjoy, that you don't have to do the traditional like treadmill.
Right. You don't have to go to the gym to do a workout and do the traditional cardio machine and weights.
Right.
There's so many things you can do that's not included in the gym that's active, like you said, dancing, Pilates, yoga, hiking outside, So go on.
So if anybody else on the planet asked me that question, I would talk to them about, what do you love to do? I know this girl very, very well. She's one of my close friends. So that's not a thing for her. She needs to go to the gym, do her thing 3 days a week for her health and everything. So what I would say, if you're out there and you're like, oh, that sounds all well and fine, but I'm committing to just going to the gym, even though I hate it, how do I make it easier? Because there are people like that, because she's like that and she can't be the only one. So what I would say in that case is think of something that you like to do. Wendy and I talked about this on the media cleanse. Think of something that you like to do that you don't allow yourself to do very much because it's not productive, or it's a guilty pleasure, like a show that you like to watch, or scrolling social media, or I don't know, anything like that, playing Monopoly Go, like anything that you have that you're like, I can't do this at home because it's a time waster. Or if you have kids, maybe you're like, I can't do this at home because I don't have any alone time. This is your time. I'm giving you permission to watch the shows, to scroll your social media, to play your phone games while you're sitting on the bike at the gym for your 20 to 30 minutes, or walking on the treadmill or the step mill, and use that as your reward for going to the gym. So find something that you want to do and do it at the gym, or a podcast, or a audiobook.
Yeah.
A smut novel. I don't care. Like whatever gets you there. And just because my friend who sent me this question, she knows she has to do it. She needs it for her health. She needs it for her longevity. She's older. She's older than us. She is overweight. She is she's the kind of person, she just says, this is what I have to do. I'm committed. She's committed to this whole year. So how can I make it easier? I say, bring a book, bring your phone, bring something, bring a movie, and just watch it and enjoy it. And forget about moving your legs. They're just going to move and you're going to get the benefit.
Great advice. Love it. Multitasking at its best.
I know it. And for me, like, I like to be productive on the bike or on the step mill. So I like clean out my email box. I respond to all my athletes. I send out texts. I order my groceries. I delete photos. I get organized in my phone. I make my lists. So that's motivation to me, because I don't do that at home. I do it when I go. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym so I can get this stuff done, and I'm training. Up until now, I have to start actually working hard. So starting this week. So what are you most excited about for the week coming up?
I'm halfway through my birth month. So second half of my birth month, I don't have planned yet. But again,
your 5.2 mile run.
I do my 5.2 mile run every day. And, just again, living in the present and just kind of making those choices of what I want to do day to day. Because again, it's my birth month. I give myself permission to do whatever I want to do. And again, going back to the family time, if that means saying, you know what, if I'm going to do this, go to someone's baseball game, softball game, gymnastics meet, I'm going to take care of myself first by going on my sunrise stuff, or I'll go to their activities, but I'm going to do mine. I'm going to do mine because it's my birth month. It's my birth month. Whereas in the past, if it wasn't my birth month, I'd say, okay, let's continue on with the family activities. If they're going to go out to eat after their game, I'll do that instead of doing my thing.
Right. I like it.
Self-care.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited to start adding some intensity to my workouts. Even though I dread it, it feels so good.
It does.
It does. It's like, and that's like kind of, if you're not motivated, both of our listener questions, like, do the thing, because endorphins, we talked about that last podcast. Endorphins are a real thing.
Vitamin E, vitamin endorphin.
Yep. It's not something that Wendy and I made up. It's a real thing that when you exercise with intensity, your brain feels happy.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to start working hard.
Good.
And I could start swimming next week. So, or I kind of this weekend, I'm going to start swimming.
Good.
For my tattoo. All right. We want to hear from you guys. Please, please, please let us know what you want us to talk about next.
And 1, 2, 3.
Make it a great day.
Thank you for listening to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten.
If you want to learn more about us or anything we talked about today, check out the links in our show notes.
We would love to know what you think of our podcast and what you want more of. So drop us a comment, send us a message, and help us out by leaving us a rating and a review.
And don't forget to let us know your wellness win for this week.
Thanks for listening.
Make it a great day.